Hey everybody, I'm Michael Silva and you're watching episode 7 of The Weekly Scan.
The Weekly Scan!
This series is all about finding the opportunities in the stock market for the week ahead. In today's episode, I built a watch list of 7 different stocks, and what we'll be doing is going over each of those charts in detail with the trade plan that I particularly like. Now, as a quick disclaimer, this is all for entertainment and educational purposes only. If you do not have experience in the stock market, please understand that there is a lot of risk involved. I am by no means a professional financial advisor, and I'm wrong a lot. With that said, let's go ahead and hop into today's episode. All right, we are here in my computer. Welcome. We're gonna be going over 7 charts today. Some interesting setups. I'm gonna have the timestamps in the comment section below and also in the description. So if you wanna skip to a certain chart, by all means go to it, or if you wanna come back and re-listen to it, by all means do that. Let's go ahead and hop into it. The first chart is VSLR, Vivint Solar. All right, so this is what I'm seeing here in the chart. First thing that I like to do is like to look for support and resistances. I'm gonna go ahead and draw those out in blue. Actually, I'm gonna draw it out in blue. Okay, so I'm seeing a pretty clear line of resistance right around here, the $6 marker, and I'm seeing a trend upwards. Let me see if I can draw that a little bit better. Okay, so yeah, I'm seeing this kind of ascending triangle. Now, keep in mind, it is in somewhat bearish context. We did see this big, large pullback right there. And then we see the 50-day period moving average crossing over, potentially crossing over into the 200, which is a bearish signal right there. But this is what I do like about it, okay? If you notice down here, I put some new indicators up. It's more fundamental stuff, but I had the short interest ratio, the days to cover, and then the percent float, the short float. What you can notice is it's at 28%, okay? Anything above like pretty much 15, honestly. 19, the higher it goes, the more people that are in it to short the stock. But this is what I find interesting about this setup is you got to understand if shorts have to cover, if they have to cover their losses, so for example, if the stock price is going up and they have to cover, you're gonna see more people buying into it and you're gonna see a rush to cover, which forces the price to move up quickly. Now, that's not to say that's gonna happen on this chart, but let's just play it out to see what would happen if it did. So we have this setup where basically it's taking these stair steps up, okay? Of building up these new supports. We have a hammer candle that formed right here. It's not like crazy high volume comparatively to looking back throughout the chart. But if we can potentially get this to break above the $6 level, this could make for a very, very good opportunity. Because you got to think, where would the shorts stop loss be? Okay, if you were a short and you were buying, you were basically short selling right here, or short selling up here, where would you want to have a stop loss? And the answer to that, in my belief, would be just above the $6 range. Okay, so if the price goes above the $6 range, people, the shorts, you got to understand, they're going to get really nervous. They're going to worry, and if they worry and then they get stopped out, because you got to look for the stop losses, right? If they get stopped out, that can cause a lot of buying to occur, which would drive the price up significantly. So I like this setup a lot. However, it's going to take some volume and it's going to take a break through the $6 level to look more interesting. Now you could play this just as is, okay? And you could play it like this. It's in an ascending triangle, yeah, bearish context, yeah, there's a lot of shorts, but if you can pick up shares down in this area, right, where this blue little line is, or, you know, even through here, whatever the case is, then you could just have a stop loss underneath probably, I would say, underneath the $5 marker, right around here, which is basically under the trend line that's going up and underneath all of these candles that had previous resistance and support. So yeah, you can play that. Now keep in mind, from $5 to where it's at now, $5.42, I mean, that's a big percentage gain move. So yeah, might want to make sure you manage your risk size on this. Okay, some people forget to think that like, hey, position size has a huge ordeal. I mean, that's the biggest part about risk. So make sure your position size is accurate to what your risk tolerance is. So that is ticker symbol VSLR. I like this setup just because if it does break up and it takes up to 6 days, 6.6 days to cover, we can just see a monster move. Where? I mean, we could see it reach back up to the target point of $13, or, you know, let's not be that conservative. Let's say it could reach up to $10. That'd be more conservative. So that'd be, you know, that's a 40% gain if we see that move. Yeah. Okay, that's ticker symbol VSLR. Let's go ahead and hop into the next stock. Okay, the next ticker symbol we are talking about is BLMN, BLMN Brands. Now, this looks pretty similar, right, to the other setup, the Vivint Solar. Like, very similar. So you have this clearly defined area of resistance. It's at the $10, like almost perfectly, right? Basically, what I'm getting at there is it you know, came up here at this point and then got rejected and is trying to come back up. We do see some good volume coming in relative to the past couple of days, the 4 or 5 days. We have a nice hammer candle that formed right at an area of, I would say, yeah, right there, you know, a trend line right around there. So if we see a break up, we can see this move. Now, here's the difference between the two setups. Look at the short percent float compared to the Vivint Solar. So we're talking 5% versus like 28% or whatever it was. So yeah, this one, not that many more people are shorting it, but you got to understand, like, so you might not see this big, huge breakout to the upside. I mean, you might still, but 1 second here. So you might see it break through this trend line and move up. There's probably a higher probability that you might see that. It might not move as aggressively as the previous stock, but hey, I got a hammer candle. I got a very similar setup, right? It's taking these little walks up, you know, higher lows, moving up, and we got this hammer candle with some good volume. We might see this burst out past the $10 range and move higher. Like the setup, good risk versus reward. Especially if you want to pick up shares a little bit lower, maybe, or you can buy it on the breakout. As far as a target goes, I mean, I think that it might struggle to get over past the 50-day moving average. So you might see, like, that might be a point to take some profits off the table. Or you can just come right over here to this level, $17 range, where there's some previous support and then it broke through. So good setup. I like these two setups so far. We got Vivint Solar and BLMN. Let's move on to the next one. All right, this is HPR, High Point Resources. I really like this setup. This is pretty cool. So first thing that really stuck out to me was just like, look at the amount of volume that's on this chart, right? That is like, look backwards. Like, it is an extreme huge amount of volume, and yet the price didn't move too much comparatively to the previous day. So it's not like it gapped up way over here, you know, like some charts you might see. And then it's right here at this clearly area of a trend line that it tried to break through. So I'm thinking with this amount of volume, yeah, like, and by the way, it's a very inexpensive stock. It's 19 cents a share. So yeah, like, keep that in mind. But with that amount of volume, right, and this trend line, I mean, it's in bearish context. However, sometimes when you see these kind of like huge volumes, that's an indicator saying like in the next couple of days, you might just see this break this trend line and start moving up. Now, where can it go? I'd say one of the other like main areas would be kind of this range. So underneath the 40 cents and then also the 40 cents. Like this range would be like a target zone for the first target, or, you know, complete profits if it does break through. So, and that's moving from where it's at now, 19 cents to 40, that's double. So 100% gain potentially. Okay, yeah, sign me up, shoot. And then you have, obviously it's making a little bit higher, you know, it's just a really tight range here. So I like this setup. I really do. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this. I think with that amount of volume, shoot, this is a perfect risk versus reward setup. I think it's going to break and move more to the upside, but, you know, won't know until we get validation on it. And that's going to take, you know, a day, 2 days, 3 days, who knows. I'm just going to keep an eye on it. All right, so that's ticker symbol HPR. Let's move on to the next one. SHAK. Here we go. Ticker symbol SHAK. Man, I remember looking at this stock a while ago when it was at like 100 plus. Talk about beaten down. It's down to $43 level, but I do like this setup. A lot of stuff is in bearish context, right? A lot of stuff. Like you have the 50-day down here, and then it's a big spread from the 200, and they're both facing kind of downwards. The 200's kind of flat though. But here's where what I do like. It's obviously at the $45 level, a very clear level of resistance. And then we have this beautiful candle that formed, a hammer candle, which represents a potential bounce point, right? And it's doing so on high volume, also nice, higher than usual, right? Looking back at the chart, woo, looking pretty good there. And it did so, it bounced, this hammer candle formed at a really good area of previous data points, right? Even if we go back even further. So this whole setup, I think that we'll see a breakout. That's, you know, I would be keeping a close eye on this one. SHAK is, or ticker symbol SHAK is not really sought after by any means, but it is a, you know, it's a good trading stock. A lot of traders keep their eyes on this. So this setup, simple, basic. I'm just looking for the break past 45, and you could buy into it a couple ways. You can buy, hey, if it pulls back a little bit more, buy more. Be a perfect risk versus reward, right? If you buy more right here where the candle points are, and then maybe have a stop loss just underneath that previous area where the candle formed. So tight stop loss, great risk versus reward trade. You know, you can't beat this kind of stuff. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. All right, this is ticker symbol FET, Forum Energy Technologies. Simple here. I mean, everything's just, you know, once you get this kind of a chart vision, you start seeing these little patterns form a lot easier. And this is another good setup. I like it. These are low price stocks. So, I mean, like I said, just keep that in mind. Keep your risk versus reward like tight, because just a few cent move could have a big potential impact on anybody's account, especially if you're moving large amounts of money, which I would never load the boat too big on any one trade. So don't be doing anything stupid, right? But this is what I like. It's, I would say, yeah, there's this pretty clear area of kind of a trend line like that. And then you kind of have the price been moving slowly upwards, kind of creating a tighter range. And you just got this monster volume that came in. Looking back through the chart, just incredible amount. So I'm feeling like, hey, here's another one of those stocks where if we pick up shares down here in this range, keep a tight stop loss, you might see this here in the next few days or even on Monday burst through up higher. And where can that go? Well, if I'm looking at like a gap fill, it can go from, you know, basically to this range. There we go. So we can see it maybe come up to here past the 50 range, or if you want to be more, I guess, be less optimistic than that, you can come down to this range or even this range. Those are all good areas for targets for this breakout, that if it does occur, it would be good areas. So I mean, like, say if you got in, you had some share, like say if you bought 1,000 shares, okay? Now that's not a recommendation. I'm just saying if you bought 1,000 shares. So if you bought 1,000 shares, you can maybe unload, you know, some on the break, you know, 100, 200 shares, and then you could do another couple hundred here, couple hundred there, couple hundred there, and then there you go, right? So that could be your trade plan. So, so that is ticker symbol FET. I'm liking the setup. Let's move on to the next one. All right, we're here at ticker symbol GENE, Genetic Technologies. Shabba dabba dang dang, baby. Now look at right out of the gate again. What the heck is going on with all that volume? Well, shoot, it made a 41% move in a single day. Now, this is what's funny is you gotta pay attention to the price action. So what did the price do? Well, it opened down here. It went as high as almost $3, and then it came, or maybe actually, no, let me see. It opened here. It came down And then it came all the way up, and then it came all the way down, trapping all these people in that wick, right? So there's a lot of people that went long that got hyped into the excitement of the move up, and now they're probably all trapped on this move. So there's a lot of danger going on in this little candle that formed here, a lot of volume, but I like this setup. So this right here is an inverted hammer for the most part. So if we can get a pullback, not saying that we will, but if we do, to the previous area of, I would say, resistance now becomes support. So if it basically would have to come down, I would say, to this range, the $1.75 range, close the gap, and then you might see it move again to the upside, because this is an incredible amount of volume. You know, the MACD is looking healthy. It's not an oversold territory yet in the RSI. This would be a good opportunity, I think, for waiting for a pullback and then maybe buying here with a tight risk versus reward per usual, and potentially seeing it move farther to the upside. Yeah, and $1.75 to $2.30. That's a huge percentage gain move. Yeah, I like this setup too. You just got to be patient. It has to reach this level before you do anything. Don't just buy in now and hope and pray it's going to go higher, because you'd be at that point just gambling and hoping. You need to get the most, the bang for your buck on your entry point. So be careful with this one. All right, let's move to next. Okay, this is ticker symbol XELA. Interesting setup. Interesting setup. Not too sure, actually. Like, I was hesitant to show this chart because there's a couple factors, that's kind of holding me from doing so. Now, this is what I'm talking about. There's clearly a level of resistance right here in this range. And then you have the 50-day moving average moving down. And if you pay close attention to the previous candle that just formed, this guy, it's a big old inverted hammer on a breakout. And sometimes that indicates a reversal. And if a reversal happens, the price can start heading downwards. Okay, so, but then what gets me kind of interested is this volume. The volume, again, it's just like, where is that volume coming from? That's just insane. So what am I thinking? I'm thinking this. I looked at the short percent float. It's not that, there's nothing going on there really. It's almost 5%. But here's what I do like. This might potentially, maybe, just be here to fake us out a little bit. Maybe it was either it tried to break out, got a little rejected by the 50-day, but might come back to retest to break out to the upside. A couple indicators that show me that is the MACD. It is gaining momentum upwards. Nice big spread here. It's trying to move past the the $0. It's still negative, so you got to keep that into consideration. The MACD is not showing much, just moving slowly up. It's not overbought and it's not oversold. Okay, so I would say, yeah, this could be a good risk versus reward trade. It's clearly trying to trend upwards. So I would say if you can pick up shares through here, this little range right around here, have a tight stop loss, obviously, tight stop loss per usual, and then maybe we might see, with all this volume in the next day or two, burst back up to the upside. So, the markets have overall been in some very interesting times. The only thing that you can manage while you trade, swing trade, and so forth is your risk. So if you're not comfortable with losing, a lot of money on some of these trades, you need to lower your share size position, or, adjust the amount that you're willing, because lowering your share position will adjust the amount that you would be actually losing if it does turn in the wrong direction. So you need to be careful, especially during times of uncertainty. But these are the setups that I found for the weekly scan. Hope you guys like them. I will be back next Saturday to go over some more charts. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Hopefully this helped you guys out. This is my little watch list now that I'm going to be keeping close eye on. If you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, emotional outbreaks, leave them in the comment section below. If you guys maybe want me to review one of your charts, send it my way. Tell me the ticker symbol in the comments. I like when people send ticker symbols, because then I get to pull it up. It's like having a free scanner out there. People are like, hey, check out this chart, and it could be a great setup. It's happened before. So, all right, with that said, guys, have a good weekend. I will see y'all, talk to y'all later.